This Thursday, May 4th, marks the annual celebration of all things Star Wars, better known as May the 4th Be With You. And here on What to Watch Live, we never miss the opportunity to celebrate a made-up holiday. So in celebration of the inevitable cable TV marathons and the entire Star Wars catalog, except for the holiday special, which is available on Disney+, we each controversially picked our favorite film of the Force-fueled saga. And I will kick things off. For me, this is an easy choice. There it is. Sure, The Empire Strikes Back is often considered the gold standard of Star Wars movies, but you can only experience the magic of Star Wars for the first time once. And that's what makes the 1977 original, aka Episode 4, A New Hope, the standout for me. Despite all of my nerdery, I was 15 years old the first time I watched a Star Wars movie, and I did it specifically to prepare for the 1999 prequel called Phantom Menace. It was a massive deal, and I just had to be a part of it. A family friend loaned me his VHS copies of the original trilogy, and I watched them all in 1 week while I was home sick from school. And as someone who grew up on the occasionally campy practical effects of the 1980s in movies like Gremlins and Neverending Story and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it never occurred to me that the special effects in the original Star Wars were low budget. Like, it never occurred to me that the story and the acting was particularly cheesy. It just didn't. In fact, the whole movie and the whole aesthetic felt like a warm blanket, as if you were slipping into the intestines of a tauntaun. In subsequent years, I've come to appreciate the absolute absurdity of what George Lucas was doing with this outer space soap opera, and the unlikelihood that it would ever become the phenomenon that it is today. And I actually have fun watching it now with that in mind, wondering just how ridiculous everyone feels running around in togas, swinging sticks in the desert. Like, you could not have imagined this would ever be anything. So that is why A New Hope is my absolute favorite.
I respect that you chopped it up, David.
Yes.
I mean, it's a great choice. I mean, outside of Empire Strikes Back, I think everyone recognizes A New Hope as either the first or second, best Star Wars film. And yeah, it introduces us to this world of space wizards and just kicks off all the fun. And I remember when I first saw A New Hope and I saw, what's his name? Yoda for the first time.
What's his name?
No, that old guy. Yeah, Yoda. I saw him for the first time. And obviously, how old was I when I first saw Star Wars? I was probably like maybe 7 or 8. But this is like obviously like 2000 something. And I remember looking at this. I'm like, this doesn't look too real. But it still captivated me. And I could tell at a young age, it was much better than The Phantom Menace. So definitely a good choice.
Well, that's a great segue into Maddie's pick for her favorite Star Wars film. What do you got for us, Maddie?
Well, first of all, I like the personal touch aspect of like when you first saw that movie, because I'm going to include that in my description here. But I'm pulling from The Age of the Republic for my pick and going with Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So I'm going to explain my love for this movie, like precursor, just like David, think of the scrolling text floating off into space. Okay, the year is 2005. I'm 10. My aunt and uncle are babysitting me and say, we're going to a movie. I'm like, sure, I don't really have a choice here. We pull up to Revenge of the Sith, rated PG-13. So, like, illegal.
Wow.
And whatever, I'm watching it, slowly developing a crush on Anakin Skywalker because he kind of looks like Justin Timberlake, who I also loved at the time. Yeah, I wasn't prepared or even like cognitively developed enough to watch my new crush get his whole body burned up, legs chopped off, in lava, only then to turn into Darth Vader, which was like the scariest thing I could probably think of at the time. Very upset, very troubling. Never watched another Star Wars movie again until literally last year, 17 years later. So I started the Star Wars journey pretty early, but I got a late start on the full journey. Finally, as a 27-year-old, I was ready to jump back into Star Wars, went in release order, starting with Episode 4, all in anticipation to revisit Episode 3 again, which felt like a fever dream when I was a kid. But yes, this movie still had the biggest impact on me out of all of the films. I think it has the best fight scene in the entire franchise when Obi-Wan and Anakin duke it out at the end in the lava. It's close though. I love the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul fight scene in Phantom Menace too. But it has romance, it has betrayal, it's got all-time quotable lines and the birth of the greatest movie villain ever. What else could you want? So in this debate, as Obi-Wan once said, I have the high ground.
Hey!
Oh, cheers.
I did my research. I studied.
Get that,
And I
get us some
love that
snaps.
scene because Obi-Wan essentially gives Anakin like Tyra Banks's "We were all rooting for you" speech. Like,
You were so right.
like that's basically what it was. We were all rooting for you, and he's just still climbing up the lava. Really disappointing.
So true.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great one. It's also spawned several memes. That high ground thing is a meme. There is a meme of Anakin and Padma sitting in the field of flowers.
Oh, I don't know.
Wait, is that episode? That might be episode 2.
It might be episode 2. I don't know.
I know they memed out Anakin when he screams like, "I hate you!" Like
Yes.
he's screaming at his parents. Like,
And
I definitely was like screaming that out at my parents when I was like 10 years old after I watched that movie.
There's also a whole thing with when he kills all the younglings. Like, there's a meme about that. So, yeah, I recently watched, maybe it was Phantom Menace, and it is super cringy.
I agree.
Even when I saw it, I didn't think I minded it. And I didn't even think at the time that I minded Jar Jar Binks. But not only does he look so terrible, it's just, it's difficult to watch. But Revenge of the Sith is certainly an improvement and is the best of that trilogy.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the palate cleanser for all three of those. Out of those 3 movies, the Revenge of the Sith easily just takes the cake for the best. And I don't know. I love moody Anakin. You know, he's pretty much like an emo child, and I don't know why I identified with it. I was never an emo child, but I was like, yeah, I want to be Anakin until like his legs got chopped off, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Wait, is this the movie that gave us the no?
Yes. At the very end.
It's full of memes. I mean, it's so relevant. You can use them as GIFs on Twitter. This is all why it's my favorite.
It's perfect. I love how you set the stage for young Maddie experiencing her big PG-13 film.
Yes.
So scandalous. Quam, I want you to bring us home.
Oh,
high bar set so far.
And I will hop over that bar leaps and bounds with episode 7, The Force Awakens. This is not the best film in the entire franchise. I still think that's, either the Empire Strikes Back or New Hope. But what The Force Awakens does, for at least me, I think for, a lot of Star Wars fans, it introduced us back into the world of Star Wars with just a fresh breath of air. It was a new take, but also a very familiar story where it pretty much was a new hope just for a whole new generation. And it was just so much fun. It was so much fun seeing a stormtrooper, and sorry, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen this movie yet. It's on Disney Plus if you want to go watch it right now. But yeah, it's so cool seeing a stormtrooper turn into a good guy, because you always wonder, like, who's under the mask? Is it like just a robot, or is it like just clones of the same person? And it's like, no, it's every person has like their own individual like personality and beliefs. And this guy's like, yo, bro, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, right on, bro. I wouldn't want to do that anymore either. And then it introduces what's her name? Not Leia. It's oh God, what's her name?
It's Rey.
Oh, Rey.
Yeah.
Rey. Yeah, how can I forget her name? She's like the most important character of this new trilogy. Yes, Rey was awesome. And it was at a time where you still didn't know her background. And I personally loved that she could have just been anybody, just any old person, and the Force just so happened to be awakening in her. And it was just such a great story, such a great film, so many great just moments, and it's everything you really want in a blockbuster movie and just in a franchise movie. And I was so excited for what the trilogy was to hold going forward, just based off this movie. Now, was I misled? Possibly, maybe a little bit, but this film still does a lot for me, and it has a perfect balance of nostalgia with all the Easter eggs and the big reveals, and just its own, it's still standing on its own 2 feet as just a good movie. So Force Awakens, one of my favorite Star Wars films of all time, and yeah, what are y'all thoughts?
Maddie?
Kwam, I agree. So when I watched this movie for the first time, probably like half a year ago at this point, I went in pretty much blind. So I didn't realize like Leia was going to be back, Han Solo was going to be back. And I was shocked that they got them to do the movie, because a lot of times you can't get those kinds of actors to come back and do this. So I was completely shocked and I was blown away. But you're right. The stock kind of drops in this trilogy pretty quickly, in my opinion. So I definitely agree with you that this is certainly the top for this specific trilogy.
Yeah, this was a glimpse of what could have been the greatest trilogy in the whole franchise, and it's still a very excellent movie, even if we were very disappointed in the end, most people. But this is excellent. I mean, it's got, first of all, the casting is fantastic. Gwendolyn Christie, who most people I don't even think realize was Captain Plasma, Captain Phasma,
yeah.
Brad, what was her name? Phasma, I knew. She was from Game of Thrones, of course, and she had she was the giant stormtrooper with the cape. Like, she's awesome. Oscar Isaac was not the greatest character, but he was still good in it. The actor who plays Finn, whose name is now escaping me. I got too much in my head. Kylo Ren, John Boyega. Thanks, Brad. John Boyega is fantastic. And of course, Adam Driver breaking free from the chains of girls to just be like one of the greatest Star Wars villains of all time. And that lightsaber battle in the snow amongst the trees is one of the best of the whole franchise. So I definitely think I interviewed Mark Hamill a week before they announced that this movie was going to be made. And I look back on that knowing that he knew he was going to make another Star Wars movie and did not tell me. And it just, obviously he was not ever going to tell me, and I was not going to get to break that. But we're talking about the franchise, and he just knows he's going to make another movie. I think it was really special to see Carrie and Harrison and Mark like reprise these roles, and Daisy Ridley, like, awesome.
Where has she been though? I feel like she is Rey and Rey only.
I know.
I need more of her.
But when you got Disney money, when you got Star Wars money, you're like, okay, well, I gotta take a break now.
It's true. She's like Emma Watson after Harry Potter. Like, she doesn't have to do anything she wants to. She can go to Harvard and, like, I don't know, be a professor, like, just living off her millions and being smart.
That's what I'm gonna do. That's the plan. That's my new business goal.
Well, you can check out our favorite Star Wars films and much more simply by saying what to watch into your Xfinity voice remote, or say Star Wars to explore an entire curated collection of the best Star Wars movies, series, and specials, except for the holiday special. Give us the holiday special, Disney. People want it.